Hey, this is Dell. Today we're going to build a pergola slash overhang awning, if you will. The purpose is we've got rain coming through these screens on the outside of our screen porch, and it's getting in on the furniture. And so to avoid limiting the amount of having to cover in the furniture every time it rains, we're going to build a little awning to limit that amount of rain coming in. But we also need to keep these bushes watered, so we're going to do a lattice product. I went down to Home Depot. You can get this stuff at Lowe's, Home Depot, your hardware store, and you can see in the back I've got we've done some staining, so I'm working with stained goods. So I've got some clothes that I can throw away when I'm done. So I've got 2x6s, 2x4s, and then there's 2 slats of lattice. I like the square lattice, and then this is the top rail. You can find this in the stair outdoor pressure treated deck building area of your hardware store. Okay, so the first thing I did was put up this the braces. So what you can see, this is about 36 inch. It's a 1x4 on the back for the support. That way you can mount you can put 2 screws in the back side so they're hidden. And then I use the top rail to the what's designed for fence for the deck boards for the top rail. And I use that just for a little accent. I cut it on a 45. I'll show that to you in just a minute, but that gives you the idea. So 36 height. I'm going to go out for this particular example. It's going to be 32 inch kicking out. So these top rails are 30 inches, and then cut these on a 45. And so what I did here, I needed 3 of them because I'm going to go 20-foot span. I'm going to do 10-foot boards, and so there'll be 3 of them. So taking that same board, I cut them on an angle. I put a screw there. So I use these construction screws. Same thing, you can get those at Home Depot. I cut these boards here. I'll do 3 of them. I'm getting ready to do the last one. And I cut them on a miter. It's very easy on a 45, and just cut each end to your dimensions of what you like. Finished mounting the brackets. We've got all 3 brackets up. Those are level. And this front board, we went ahead and cut it, and we put a chamfer on the end of it. That's because I like that little chamfered edge. So I cut those boards to length, depending on the size that you need for your screen porch covered awning. And so we got a 2x6 on the front edge. That would serve as like a fascia board. And then what we did is we went off the back, because that bracket is level. We went up the 5.5 inches actual dimension of a 2x6 plus a 3.5 inch 2x4, and that gives us about a little less than a 10-degree slope. So depending on what slope you like for your canopy awning, you can determine that elevation in that direction. Slat boards on, and so what we've got is we went with a 32-inch dimension because the width of this particular bed here is about 32 inches, and we want to kind of keep that covered, and that'll be enough to keep the rain out of the screen porch. So we cut these 2x2s. There's a little cut chamfer on the ends of them. I kind of like doing that. It gives a little bit of a feature. So we're going to go ahead and finish those up, and then we'll start with the lattice. Up the slats, I put them in at 16 inches on center. I put one of the construction screws at the bottom to tie the fascia board, and then each of the 2x2s get a 1 5/8 inch screw, construction screw on the front and back to support the movement, any kind of shifting. And I went ahead and started and put in the square slat system. I'm not a fan so much of the hex slat. You pay a little bit more, but I think it's a better look, a stronger quality lattice. So we'll go ahead and finish this up, and about to have a finished view from the inside of the porch. It somewhat extends the porch, and it gives it a more finished look. Here's the outside view of the finished product. We had our first rain. It's been about a week, and when I did the touch-up staining, but we had our first rain, and it helped tremendously to block much of the rain from driven into the screens and onto the furniture, and yet still came down and got the bushes. So far so good. So there you have it. What we used, I wanted to do a little touch-up staining to finish up our project. We use a penetrating wood stain. This happens to be our choice of color, which is a dark walnut. We started out the porch that way, so we went ahead and finished the pergola overhang with the same product. One other thing I want to mention is when you're putting up these shelf or the brackets, you can use a T-square. It's important to make sure they are perpendicular to the screen porch wall. So when they're coming out, if you put the lattice on, it can get a little bit out of square. So use a large square, carpenter square, and that'll give you the ability to make sure those are squared up, and you can brace them a little bit as you put your 2x6 fascia board and then your square lattice. It ends up being save you a lot of time from having to move and shift pieces around. So I hope you enjoyed it, this pergola awning overhang, if you will. Hit like, and I hope you enjoy it, and send me some questions if you have any.